little different than all the rest. I'm quite old-fashioned, wear a hat, sometimes play chess. And when I'm out, I'm looking for that vintage fling.
So we're doing the Celtic Cross. The first card, before you even start drawing for the new year, your first card is going to be you. And this is your path, this is your journey that you take down the Celtic Cross. I ironically couldn't find my person card. My person card is the Queen of Good Cheer in this deck. The deck is the Yuletide Tarot deck. And I couldn't find that card, so it was almost like I, myself, represented by the card, am lost. I'm trying to find guidance along this path in the new year. I took a break from filming and all because I had a friend come over last night for the New Year's Eve party, and then by the time everything finished, it was a bit late to continue filming. But I kept with my spread because I think it is very important to sense what the universe is trying to tell us. So like I said, my card was missing. I've yet to find that card. I am the Queen of Cups, or in this particular circumstance, I am the Queen of Good Cheer. And that card seems to be missing, which is quite strange. First up, we have the Situation, which is the Ten of Candles, otherwise known as the Ten of Swords, and it's reversed. I am reading from the Modern Witchcraft Book of Tarot, your complete guide to understanding the tarot by Sky Alexander. And I really like using this book, especially since even though I've been doing this for 3 years, I'm still very much a beginner. You don't become an expert at anything after 3 years. But it is a very good book. I will link it down below, as well as the Yuletide Tarot deck. So, reversed. The Ten of Swords suggests you're unwilling to take steps that will move you to a better place. Perhaps you're deceiving yourself, or you're stalling due to fear. But delaying only makes things worse. Stop making excuses and choose a course of action. I will say that I do feel quite stuck, especially when it comes to jobs, career, moving out. Like, I kind of just stick with things because it's what feels comfortable and it is what I'm used to. But it's not always the best thing. So I think in 2025, I want to move more towards making myself happy. And I have some ideas of what that might look like. Opening my Etsy store, doing more YouTube, being around friends more often. But I think I struggle with the actual process of like making those a reality. I think the lesson here is to be more open and more willing to choose a path rather than just staying stagnant with where I'm at currently in life. Then the challenge facing us is card number 5. And this deck is called Celtic Cross. This is a figure of authority and power, like the Emperor, but the Hierophant's power is of a spiritual leader, and some decks call him the Pope. He may represent a person who is dedicated to a religion or philosophy, or he can indicate that you're trying to break away from religious influences or dictates. In a broad sense, this card can refer to any organized institution, religious or otherwise, that exerts authority over its followers. So I think the reason I stay stuck in this, like, I feel comfortable state is because of the fact that I fear going against that authority. I fear, you know, for work, it's very easy to see that that's the boss. Fear going against the boss, saying that I need to leave, or that I need a raise, or that I need this. And it's very difficult for me to stand up for myself. I have found a voice over the years, but I feel like my confidence definitely is something that needs to grow. Moving forward, the best way to potentially align myself more with my values is to be able to be more confident, to be able to speak my piece, to not let people walk all over me. Then we have up here, for the third card, what is known to us. You have the Eight of Gifts reversed. So in here, that's going to be the Eight of Pentacles reversed. The reversed 8 shows that you're working hard, but not getting ahead. Maybe you feel like a hamster in a treadmill, running as fast as you can, but going nowhere. You could think of this as the burnout card. Delays, obstacles, confusion may interfere with your success. This card can mean you lack necessary skills to accomplish your aims. I cannot relate to that more. I've been applying actively for a year now, but inactively for like the past 2 years. And I constantly am feeling like I'm running in place, like I'm reaching burnout, both in therapy, in work, in life in general. And that's why I kind of moved to a more creative hobby. Because making videos and stuff shouldn't be stressful. And when it is, I definitely shouldn't film, which is why I took this video itself into 2 parts. Started filming it last night when I was feeling good, and didn't continue filming it until the next day, later in the afternoon and the evening, when I started to feel better. Because I am trying to take care of myself, and I'm trying to remind myself that burnout is very possible. It happened to me last Christmas. It could happen again. And the best way to treat burnout is to allow yourself to relax, to ease your anxieties, to meditate, to practice breathing exercises. I recently got a sunrise alarm clock. And the cool thing about this alarm clock is that it gradually wakes you up, and the lights gradually get, brighter, and it doesn't really use any sound. I do have 2 other alarm clocks as backup alarm clocks to help me wake up. I think that allowing the gradual light to slowly wake you up has really helped with my morning routines. I think that I need to ease my anxieties a lot around burnout, and that is definitely affecting me. What is unknown to us? What is our foundation? This is the 7 of Gifts, aka the 7 of Pentacles, and it is also reversed, which I find very interesting how close the cards are. The reverse 7 often signifies anxiety, impatience, and concerns about losses. You doubt you'll reach your goals, or worry that your outcome won't live up to your expectations. Sometimes this card indicates procrastination or lack of enthusiasm needed to complete a project. Literally what I just said. I have a lot of lack of motivation. I procrastinate a ton. And if I'm not doing something that is doing it not out of pure obligation, but actually doing it, then I shouldn't do it. And I have to remind myself of that. That YouTube, as much as I want it to eventually be a job, it is a hobby. And the whole point of wanting it to be a job is so that it will be something that I enjoy. And if I force it, and if I try to make it an obligation, and I try to get 2 videos out every week, yes, that's my goal. But that doesn't necessarily fuel me. I need to not do it out of obligation. It needs to be something that happens and comes naturally, and something that I'm passionate about. And that's with anything in life. I feel like I'm discovering that maybe my jobs don't bring me passion anymore. Maybe I do need to find a new career path. I recently sat down with a group that helps autistic individuals with career skills, interview skills, finding a job, applying, finding skills that they're good at. So I'm very excited and hoping that things will work out, I'll get accepted, because I feel like I have a lot of anxiety about work and money because of the fact that I'm constantly having to push myself to be able to afford things and do things that I don't necessarily like to do or am passionate about doing, and I kind of just do it because I'm like, well, I need the money. The lesson here is find something that I'm passionate about that I then can make money on, but that not be the sole driving purpose. So then in the past we have the Hangman upside right. This is quite a common card for me. I get the Hangman quite often. Just the struggle and the fact that you feel like you're just being taken down by everyone. The Hangman usually hangs upside down by one leg, although this doesn't seem to bother him. He appears quite nonchalant. In the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, he's suspended from the branch of a tree, which may represent the tree of life or the world tree. When this card appears in a reading, it can mean old patterns or attitudes. You're ready to make sacrifices in order to be true to yourself. Something may have turned your world upside down, but now you have an opportunity to see things from a different perspective. And I think that's true. I'm able to see that I don't have to continue. I know a lot of this is job related for me, but I feel like that's kind of where my year is starting. It's realizing that I don't have to do this, I can do something else. I don't need to use my degree. I know that I spent all this money on a degree, and it's not like I'm not using it. I feel like there's different ways of using it, but when people see that, oh, you're not directly applying your degree, college was still a relatively good experience for me, especially studying abroad. I got to meet various different types of people, work on my writing, connect with individuals from different backgrounds and beliefs. And I feel like all of that knowledge and skills are very useful, and maybe the lecturing and stuff and the actual teaching aspects of it weren't as useful for me. But I think it's just realizing that I don't have to stay in this space that isn't working for me. I can find things in therapy, in my job life, in my relationships that does work for me and doesn't make me feel like I am necessarily having to stick in this situation. The looking ahead. So we got the Seven of Candles, aka the Seven of Swords, reversed. So when the Seven of Swords is reversed, it is either you behaving impetuously or that you're overly cautious and afraid to act. It can also represent coming clean about a mistake and trying to make restitution. Sometimes this card shows you experimenting with different plans and getting various points of view. I definitely feel like for me, it's the point of view aspect that really seems to fit my life. And also the overly cautious and afraid to act. I feel like maybe in the past I had been overtly cautious about, changing things up and actually taking the steps needed to get a different job. But I feel like I've been applying. If I get into this group, I feel like I have great optimism and hope that I will end up with a new job, hopefully a full-time job with benefits in a career that I actually enjoy. I hope that maybe I'll turn YouTube and Etsy into a profitable type business, but if not, it's a hobby first and foremost, and that with a full-time job at least, I would be able to actually have time to like dedicate towards YouTube and Etsy more, since currently working 2 part-time jobs, sometimes double shifting in one day, just isn't ideal with my sleep schedule, my health, my overall well-being. Next up, we have the Knight of Candles, aka this is going to be the Knight of Swords, and it is reversed. This card is your current state of mind. Someone who lacks intensity, drive, and confidence of the upright knight. When he appears in a reading, he suggests a lackadaisical attitude, indecision, confusion, or withholding information. If he represents an actual person, he may be a young man who doesn't say what he really means, lives in his mind instead of the real world, who's incapable of handling the tasks before him. I do feel like there is a bit of that confidence piece that I am lacking. It is something that I definitely need to grow in. I think making people clear of my boundaries and showing that they can't just walk all over me has been definitely a lesson, and it continues to be a lesson moving forward. Our 8th card, this card, is going to be the circumstances and people surrounding the situation. So we got the Star, and it is upright. This card often portrays a nude female figure in or beside a pool of water. In some decks, she pours water from 2 jugs or chalices. In the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, she pours the contents of 1 pitcher into a stream and the other onto the ground. The naked woman represents truth and purity. The jugs contain the waters of life. We see shooting stars as harbingers of good luck. We wish for the star as the universal symbol of hope. Getting this card is like looking up at the bright starry sky on a clear night and seeing all the magnificence of the universe. This is a time of fulfillment, good fortune, creative inspiration, spiritual growth. So basically, this is the light at the end of the tunnel. So the people surrounding me are very uplifting, very hopeful, very much optimistic about the idea that I can make this a reality for myself. I see this card very much as my partner who has been supporting me through my career and through my passions constantly, reminding me that this is not a job, this is a hobby, that this should bring me joy and passion, reminding me that, they can help take care of me if I need it, to not be afraid to ask for help. They've been the one to ignite me and ignite this passion within me to do YouTube, to do Etsy, to potentially find a new career. I have my, job coaches, potential job coaches if I get accepted into this program, who have been very helpful, who think very highly of me, who have put me to feel like I can do this, who have given that confidence and poured into me and into my soul. I just feel like this is shooting forth to brighter days. The 9th card is going to describe your hopes and dreams and desires, as well as your fears. So this is the Knight of Good Cheer, also known as the Knight of Cups, and it is reversed. The Knight of Cups indicates you're totally wrapped up in a romantic idea. Because knights signify messengers and travel, this card can mean that you receive a message, perhaps an expression of love from a suitor. When this card appears reversed, he may represent insecurity, indecision, lack of commitment, and immaturity, especially in relationships. Sometimes he represents broken promises, or deceit, or an offer that's not based in reality. If he stands for an actual person, he's someone to avoid. He's not what he seems. He may not even know himself who he is. Even if his intentions are good, he can't fulfill them because it represents hopes and dreams as well as fears. It's that fear of, being stagnant not being able to make a decision, being fearful of commitment, fearful of change. And so I think that this is really just it advising against that fear and that anxiety and going forth and really making that change noticeable and giving it life in your life. Lastly, we have the outcomes card. So this is the Page of Good Cheer. It is upside right, so this is going to be the Page of Cups. In some tarot decks, the page appears as a child, an apprentice, a student, or a young servant. Consequently, page cards are represent innocence or the initial stages of a situation. Sometimes the Page of Cups is shown contemplating a fish, a symbol of the water element. When the Page of Cups shows up, it suggests intuition and innate artistic creative abilities, but you haven't developed these yet. It also indicates emotional immaturity. If the card represents an actual person, he or she is probably young, inexperienced, in love, and perhaps overly trusting, naive, or idealistic in the extreme. If it appears upright, it can indicate self-esteem issues. Perhaps you look to others to define you, or you place too much trust in people. It also suggests a keen intuition and latent artistic ability. Sometimes this card shows you facing an emotional issue about which you feel uncertain or unprepared. I think in our case, the Page of Cups kind of, in some ways, represents me. Being immature, looking to others for them to describe or define who I am, rather than looking on the inside. So it is more of a warning to not be that person, to really consider what I want in life, to put my thoughts and my ideas first, because a lot of times I don't do that and society warns against it, but your intuition is strong. Let your intuition guide you. Let your decisions be made with wise mind, both considering the emotional response as well as the logical responses, and finding that nice common ground or middle path that is going to bring you to enlightenment. Hopes to learn from all of these cards and hopefully discern what my best choices are moving forward in this year. I love you. Bye!